you have to understand what the value system is. Our value system is based on Judeo-Christian teachings and Judeo-Christian history and traditions, which means we have the Ten Commandments. We have the Magna Carta. We have rules that make sense, and these are the rules that our society goes by. And doesn't matter if you're Jewish or Christian or not, these are the rules that found this great nation. So you want to come here from fill-in-the-blank place, that's cool. A, prefer you to do it legally. B, understand we already have a culture. And C, just in recent years, we have proven beyond the shadow of a doubt that multiculturalism doesn't work. It doesn't work because why would you try to make us like the place you're coming from if you're leaving the place you're coming from because it sucks? It is going to be James in Minnesota. James, what's going on? Hi.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call.
You bet.
Wanted to respond to your question about whether or not any of your callers think that multiculturalism has worked.
Okay.
And so I would say that I'm a proponent of that.
Okay. How's it worked?
So I would say that if you were a radio host 100 years ago, you would be saying the identical things about Irish and Italian immigrants, and that can we really coexist in a society with Italian and Irish immigrants? Because at the time, they were not even considered white. They were not even considered part of American society.
Right.
And so the iterations that have gone through the decades have been to sort of widen that circle to include all Europeans.
Yeah.
Right. And now the sort of the new goalposts now are those that are not, as you said, Judeo-Christians, but even look at the Chinese immigrants and the building of our early infrastructure and their work ethic and the things that they've imparted on American culture. We do not exist inside of a vacuum with respect to Judeo-Christian beliefs, and I think to believe that is a really, really myopic view of how American culture has evolved since we've, accepted more immigrants into our society. And I'll just say at one last point, the pejorative term for Italians was called WAPs, and that is an acronym that stands for without papers, meaning that they were illegal immigrants. And so for your Italian listeners, I would say if you're strongly against illegal immigration, there's a pretty high likelihood that your ancestors immigrated here illegally as well.
James, very well said. I gave you 2 minutes. Now do me a favor and don't say anything as I answer you. You're dead wrong. I'll tell you why you're dead wrong. And here's the thing. I'm mostly Italian, and my grandfather came with his brothers and his father. They did it legally through Ellis Island. I'm also Irish. I've got a pretty good percentage of Irish in me. They were not turned away because of multiculturalism based on Judeo-Christian society. They were looked down upon and given pejorative terms because they were thought of as being less than, and not religion-wise, but they were looked at as less than because Southern Italians like me are darker. So it was very much a prejudice or racist thing about their skin tone. Irish or not. So the Irish, it wasn't about skin tone. It was about those from other parts of Europe looking down on Irish as less than them, having no basis whatsoever in religion. Because as you know, Irish and Italians are Christian. And they also come from societies based on Judeo-Christian values, just like this country was founded on. So the idea that 100 years ago I'd be cutting them down because they don't fit into the Judeo-Christian circumstance is untrue. I might be saying what you're saying if I had been Irish, not Irish, had I been just from England or just from whatever was the accepted European country, but it had nothing to do with religious values that I've been talking about today. So you could not be more wrong. Now, without papers, you're right, but it wasn't only Italians that got the WOP put on their hands. That was stamped on everybody. But for some reason, it stuck to my people, the Italian people. I don't know why. The term WAP is kind of dumb. I've never really felt very insulted by it. I thought it was just coming from people who were unintelligent. You're not. You're a very, very intelligent guy. But man, you've got our history so backward. And the idea that you somehow tied it to Judeo-Christian thinking and teachings and values is really why Minnesota, I think, has a lot of problems right now, James. Really appreciate you saying what you said. Gave you a couple of minutes. My response was less in length than what you had to say. I'm frankly up against a break, or else I go back and forth with you. But you've got it wrong. When I talk about multiculturalism, I'm talking about the attempt to change a religious belief or system in a specific area, like a lot of what's happening in Minneapolis, St. Paul, that guys like you are accepting, and you're losing your culture in Minnesota because of it. Have people integrate and have people acclimate. Don't just give in. Come on.